Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. I am your host, Guy, joined by my fellow co-host, Liam.
Hello.
And Connor.
Hello.
So guys, have you seen that Akuma teaser trailer recently? It looked awesome.
Dude, he looks so sexy.
What are you guys talking about?
Akuma, like the new character for Street Fighter.
I have no clue what you guys are talking about. Who is this? Who the fuck is this Akuma guy?
Oh, dumbass.
Y'all are hyped over some like old man? Liam, you're telling me you think an old man is sexy?
Don't you dare insult Akuma. Grr, raging demon! Ah! Death.
Yeah, that's what Connor gets for disrespecting my boy Akuma. But with that being said, guys, today we're going to be covering Street Fighter 6. What is it about? How is it compared to the rest of the Street Fighting games? And why we love it. So boys, I'ma be real. I was addicted to Street Fighter 6 for the longest time, and I still have like a little bit of that addiction, because this game is just flippin' fantastic.
This game is very good. I bought it, I think, either day one or week one. Started playing the game, and really haven't stopped. I don't play it as often as I do before, but that's just because other games have come out. But like, I play it very consistently.
I think I play it daily. Like I don't grind it, but it's like for an hour I will just like hop into ranked and do a few ranked matches. It's so good.
It's just such a good, like, it's such a well-polished game. There are like very little problems I have with the game, and I haven't even touched like the single-player content. I've almost exclusively done online ranked matches.
Yeah. For context, we sort of have like a chain of command here over how each of us got into Street Fighter 6. Liam got it day one, and then he got convinced Guy to get it and got him addicted. And then Guy convinced me to get it, and then I played it for a bit, but then
Now you gotta get Brewer.
Yeah, now we gotta get Brewer, and just like with Fortnite.
True! But getting more into that, Street Fighter 6 is obviously the newest title in the Street Fighter series, and frankly, I think this is Capcom's best modern fighting game. I'm gonna be for real. I don't think they've had output like this good since like Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
I think that it is very easily in contention for like best fighting game in like probably this like last maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
But like,
and the
I
thing
say
is,
the only thing that could like maybe contest with it after the honeymoon phase is over would be Tekken 8.
yeah, because Tekken 8, like, if y'all haven't seen like the reviews and everything, Tekken 8 is probably the best Tekken besides like Tekken 5 and maybe Tekken 3. That's a little still contentious, but like Tekken 8 has definitely like it's past the bar in terms of like what a fighting game of that caliber can be. So I'm really excited for the Tekken fans on that one, but also the Street Fighter fans are eating good. Cause
You know that it's a good game when the main bad guy has a shoe collection.
dude, real.
Dude, you know it's a good game when they get rid of one of the main characters and people just don't care.
And both games actually do that, which is crazy.
Yep.
Both
Wait,
Street
how
Fighter
does
6
Street
and
Fighter
Tekken
6 do that?
And Bison is dead.
He
Bison's
died.
dead.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah, spoilers, but this is a podcast that almost always does spoilers. So yeah, and Bison is dead, and now we have Mr. JP,
who it's
JP
implied that he has like some connection to Bison because of his like powers. He's able to summon like spectral like psycho things to like aid him in battle, which is like makes up his zoner archetype.
Which makes him fucking crazy good.
Yeah, we'll get into that later, but like one thing I do want to talk about is Street Fighter 6, like what it is in general. Street Fighter 6 is obviously the most recent game in the series, but Street Fighter as a whole has been one of the most influential 2D fighting games ever, dating all the way back to the first Street Fighter, which wasn't even like a traditional fighting game. It was actually more of like a beat 'em up, if anything. But it was with Street Fighter 2 that actually like cemented the series as a 2D fighting game for the series. Like that's where like actual combos could be dealt. That's where you can choose other characters besides Ken and Ryu. That's when I'd say like the series like truly got its start. And Capcom has released the most recent one about a year ago in June, and I gotta say, if we're not glazing this game enough, like they fucking knocked it out of the park on this one.
It's like every single aspect of that game is so fine-tuned, except for only one thing, and that is the character customizer, because the character customizer is great. It's such a funny aspect of the game, but the monetization of said thing is kind of poopy.
That's more so Capcom than it is like the game itself. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah, but getting into it, why are we glazing this game so much? I want to compare this to Street Fighter V and like the mechanics in 6. So like, if y'all don't know, Street Fighter V was a very contentious game in the series, and arguably was the lowest point in the Street Fighter series. The release of the game was not very good. It only had like, I want to say like 8 or 12 characters to play off the bat.
I think that's true, yeah. And then they like a bunch, like it got better, but it had terrible netcode. It had terrible like balancing problems. It still had almost always had terrible balancing problems.
Yeah, and the thing with that game is that it also just had like a really bad art style. It did not look pretty to look at.
That's very true.
And the problem is that like the game eventually got good. It took a little too long, in my opinion, for like the people who bought it initially to keep with it and stay interested, because the game had already changed so much at that point. And like, what's the point of like learning this game when half of its lifespan is already over for it to be good? You know what I mean?
And then they're like, what if we made a good game and made the most base game of all time?
And so we get Street Fighter 6. The build up behind Street Fighter 6 was like, I want to say it was very like stressful because people did not want a repeat of the 5 situation, but Capcom, this also I feel like has to deal with the renaissance that Capcom is in right now, which this will probably be like for a future episode. But if y'all look at Capcom's catalog for the past like 6 years, ever since the beginning, since Resident Evil 7, Capcom has been on a streak in terms of like releasing banger after banger, and this is also shown in their sales, with their 2 highest grossing games ever being Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise coming out after like during this Renaissance period. So if like in terms of like this Renaissance period, I feel like this is when Capcom really like took a step back to focus on the quality of games again instead of like the monetization aspects of it, because I'm not gonna lie, their output before Resident Evil 7 wasn't the best. You got the DMC remake, you got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, you got Street Fighter V base. Like it wasn't that good.
Street Fighter V base, like I'd never played it, but from what I've heard, it was just terrible.
It was not a very good vanilla game. But then now we're in this Renaissance period, and now they focus more on quality now. So we have Street Fighter 6, which this game, even if you don't get the DLC, is so full of content and so much stuff to do.
Yeah, as someone who doesn't have the DLC, I can very much agree to that.
This game has 18 characters to play off the bat, to which they all vary in unique playstyles. Like, I play Ken. Oh wow, plays the fucking Buzz Lightyear meme. Oh my god, a Ken main? Who would have thought? Yeah.
I'm just Ken. Anywhere else
he'd be a 10. Yeah.
What will it take for her to see the man behind the 10?
And fight for me! I love that song. But but the thing is, I play Ken because he's a fun rushdown character with really cool and safe kick moves that make me try to utilize his punching to like get in and then combo with his kick moves, which make me just love the character so much. What about y'all? What about the characters y'all play?
I
So
play Cammy because I did
she's
combo
alright.
trials, and I was like, I'll pick Cammy. This was my first Street Fighter game ever. I was I was very recently gotten into like fighting games in general, so I'm like, I'm gonna pick just like I'm just like go through characters. I did Luke's combo trial, I did Giles, I did Ryu, and I'm like, Cammy's hot, but she's British, so I was like torn, you know. And then I started
You're
doing
fighting your
her.
inner demons.
Yeah, so then I started doing her combo trials, and I was like, damn, this character's extremely fun. What the hell is going on? And then I picked her up, and I now have 100+ hours in the game only in her.
And that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I don't play. I want to, like, I want to. I've been trying to tell myself I need to play more Street Fighter lately, but the new Fortnite season came out, so that might be a bit.
But what about the character you play?
Oh yeah, it's already. I played Kimberly because when I was for two reasons. One, I thought her design was really cool, and when I was watching like early gameplay sort of stuff, and like when the game had first came out, because I had watched like Maximilian Dude and other like creators like that play the game, and it looked really fun. And so when I saw that, I saw Kimberly, and I was like, she like a ninja that also used stuff like graffiti stuff, and is like it was such a cool like idea to me, and so I just really wanted to play Kimberly, and so I play Kimberly. I'm not well, but I do play her.
That's the thing about the game too, is that like this game is really balanced in terms of viability for characters. I would argue that there are 7 or 8 characters in this game that are top tier characters, and that's like about half the cast.
Yeah.
True, and even the ones that aren't so viable, you can still win with them. It just is like a little harder. It's not like other games where you try to play with another character and you just get shit on.
Yeah, it's not. I guess a good analogy would be like in this game, if you go like Luke and Lily, which Lily is probably the worst character in the game right now. Like you
Yeah,
can
it's
Uh,
win.
either that, Aki, or Zangief.
Yeah, it's one of
it's
those.
it's definitely Lily. Hockey and Zangief got changed.
Yeah, but if you play, you have a chance to win. Like it's gonna be hard, but it's you're gonna win. As opposed to something like I guess Smash, where if you play against a good Steve player or a good Sonic player, and you're like K. Rool or Dr. Mario or someone, so like a character that's like at the very bottom of the tier list, you're gonna get crushed. Like you have to be like the best player in the world if you want to. If you're a good K. Rool player against a good Steve player, you're not gonna win. So and I'm a K. Rool player, so I know.
And the thing is, like, going on top of that, it's like anyone can win as long as they're good enough. You just have to have good neutral, good advantage state, know what to do in disadvantage, etc. And this is shown actually at the most recent major, as of this recording, for Street Fighter 6,
Capcom
which was
Cup.
Capcom Cup 10. Which, by the way, that tournament was amazing. I loved every second of it. I think they did an extremely well job of like making the game look presentable to those who haven't played it before, while also presenting us with top level gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing that I want to talk about, Luke is the best character in the game right now. He is extremely good. He has high damage combos. He has a full screen projectile. He has some of the best poke and pressure tools in the game. And a Luke player was actually expected to get up to grand finals and win. I think before that it was Nephew for some reason. If I like the seeded
Nephew's
projected,
a goat.
which was weird. But like Luke was most likely going to win this, especially since Luke was the character with the most entrants. But it was actually a jury who won the entire thing and got $1 million.
Yeah, that it should be stated that this was a big tournament.
I think this had the biggest prize pool of any esports competition ever.
It
Yeah, I
was
remember.
$3 million.
Yeah, I think it was like 2.5 or 3 million in prize in total, which is fucking insane, by the way.
Yeah, I remember. When the like live stream tournaments would start, they'd have like this huge introduction and like this is the biggest prize pool in esports ever. So I can confirm that it probably is, unless they were lying. But
Two
I don't
million.
think they would
Okay,
lie.
it was $2 million for prize pool, but that's still a fuck ton of money.
First place got $1 million.
That's like
Yes.
life changing money.
No,
Second place got five hundred
you could
thousand.
actually invest that into stuff, and you don't have to work ever again, which is nuts.
Yeah, like
What were we saying, Liam?
First place got 1 million. Second place got 500,000. Third place got 250,000. Like these are sums that like would like actively change people's lives, and it's because Capcom is like believing in this game and is willing to invest in this game. Because this was a Capcom like official tournament.
Yeah, they hosted this, which was awesome. They hired their own commentators. They got their own venue. This was completely funded by the developers, which I thought was awesome. And the thing is that like I feel like this game is going to survive like a very good lifespan in terms of like being a fighting game, for the fact in the matter that it listens to its community. It knows like what changes need to be made. Not only that, but it's willing to support the game. Biggest example as of recent being Capcom Cup and its players, which I think is incredible.
I think a good example of like them listening is stuff with patches, because like what they did is that they did something like, I think a good example is like when Mortal Kombat 1 came out, the meta was really like not good because of how dominating some characters were. And what they did is they just nerfed those characters into the ground. Where with the recent patch to Street Fighter 6, yes, they did nerf some of the top characters like JP, but they mainly just focused on buffing other characters. Like with Jamie, Jamie was like really bad, but they gave him like these new drink mechanics that make him like actually pretty good now, I feel like.
Yeah, same with Ryu as well. But like the thing is that like they knew going into the game that it was pretty balanced, all things considered. But they were gonna let the community like discover what needed to be changed and whatnot, so that over time people could actually learn the matchups of certain characters. And the developers they watch this too, because like all the replays online for ranked are actually saved online so that other people can watch them.
Yeah. I think a
And
good sorry, you go first.
which, by the way, you should if you're wanting to get into this game and wanting to get good at it, I think you should always utilize the replay system, especially of some of the top players, because those replays will always be saved for you to watch, and the game will actually give you recommendations on what characters you want to watch, or like what you're playing. Like, because I play Ken, I'm gonna get recommended a lot of Ken gameplay, uh, watch replays. But I can set it in filters to have replays of top players playing certain characters in case I want to like analyze a matchup, which I think is awesome.
Wait, I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not know about this mechanic at all.
Yeah, dude, you're missing out an entire point, like an entire feature of the game that like you can watch replays of top players and look at like for certain matchups and whatnot.
Oh, well, that's pretty epic.
It's awesome, and like the main point that I want to like draw from this is that like the game and the developers they want you to get a feel for this game, and they want you to like succeed. They want you to get better. The
Yeah,
tutorials I don't think are the best tutorials, but they do a very good job of like getting you started. Not to mention, I think the biggest like selling point of this game in terms of like marketability is the modern controls, which we haven't even talked about yet.
yeah. Before we do that, I was wanting to sort of just bring up one last point when it
Yeah,
came
go
to the
for it.
meta. Um, I think to like really express how good the balancing was, when the game first came out, the meta completely would shift at points, and without any patches. Like no patches would be made. I remember when the game first came out, a lot of people thought JP was like pretty mid and stuff like that. And then after people experimented and they felt out the character and they got to know how he works, it turned out he was like the best or second best character in the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we're not even a year into this game, so like, imagine like what kind of discoveries are being made right now to like increase the meta. Like, another good example of this that just happened recently is that Rashid, the first DLC character, he was actually like ranked as like a mid tier character, all things considered. But after his like third place placement at Capcom Cup, a lot of people are reconsidering like how good he is in the meta and actually like thinking he's as good as like some of the like top 5 characters, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a game where like people are discovering new things. They're like learning the game. Like the game started off, everyone was like very much like just like flailing around. People are like, oh, this mechanic's cool, but it's kind of niche. And then like with like drive parry maybe or like all this like stuff, and they're like, yeah, it's a pretty niche mechanic, but it's cool. And then people realize that drive parry is broken as hell, and
Yes,
it
it
was
is.
just and it's just like a matter of time before like more things are figured out. Like the combo started to evolving. People started getting like extremely optimal with their usage of drive gauge, like all these like combos. Like the game has evolved so fluidly, and we haven't had any like major patches yet. We haven't had like our first major patch. That should be a couple months.
Yeah, we did get a minor patch recently, but it didn't like overhaul any mechanics or anything. It just like it tuned some characters down and some up.
Yep, and like that's
Yep.
kind of that's kind of like what the game is. I feel like that's what it's leaning towards, is just kind of like tweaking instead of just only doing one, only buffing, only nerfing. Because there's a lot of people in the fighting game community who are like, you should only buff characters, you should never nerf characters. And I watched a video about this, and it like put up a really good point. If there's a character that has a gun that can kill someone in one hit, would you rather give every single person a gun, or would you rather take the gun away? Sometimes nerfs are necessary, and I think Street Fighter is very good at making sure that people understand that, and how certain characters do need to be toned down more than certain characters need to be buffed up to that point, because that's how you end up getting games like Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh god, some of the most broken characters in all of fighting games.
Yeah.
Yep.
The I guess we could go on a slight sort of tangent, but Dragon Ball Fighter's biggest issue is that it's like a touch of death game. And if for like people who don't know what that term means, it's pretty simple. You get touched once, you're probably gonna die because that's just how the character works. And it's I'm sure for some people it's fun, but especially as someone who's not good at fighting games, if I was to get hit but once by someone and then it's just like, oh well, I'm dead now, that just doesn't seem fun to me. I feel like if you want a healthy fighting game, it needs to be to where like you can get comboed, but you don't instantly die for like whiffing one attack or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Street Fighter 6 is that like, yeah, it does have high damage combos, a lot actually compared to like 5, all things considered. But the thing is that like the average max damage combo that characters are going to be doing is like 60%.
It's also
And
like
that's using
hyper specific to get like those bigger combos.
Yeah, like one that like I think a great example is that I don't know if it's still a thing, but I know a while back someone discovered that Guile has like a 98%
that was in
combo.
the beta. That was in the beta.
Okay, I know that because I do know that that was a thing, but again, like that was something that could happen, but it was again, as Liam said, it was so hyper specific on how to get that. It was like it was never going to happen, and since it was in the beta, it didn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I know a combo you're talking about. It was really gimmicky, and it was in the pre-release of the game, so like obviously it got taken out. But like the thing is that like there's some characters who do like 60 to 65% damage, but they have to use all of their resources, and they're usually doing it to like close out a round. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Like
the whole point of the game, it's and this is like one of the best mechanics of the game, and we can all agree. is the drive gauge mechanic, because it's not just like a life bar meter anymore. You have three different meters to manage. You have life, you have super, and then you have drive gauge, and all of them lead to very interesting things where you can you can you can like deal a lot of damage to someone, but then you get put in burnout and suddenly you're in disadvantage because now you're in burnout, and in that state you take chip damage. This is okay, little bit different. um, this is one of my favorite parts about the game. I'm not a fan of chip damage. I find it incredibly lame. I get why people like it, but I don't. In this game, it's done beautifully where you can only get chipped if you're in burnout.
Which is
And
when you use all of your drive gauge or it gets depleted.
yes, exactly. And so they do it very, very well in this game, where they basically just uh, make it where you can still get chipped out. Their zoners still have their chipping out, like people still get chipped out, but you have to burn out drive gauge, and so these people get like basically a last ditch effort to get like to like pull something back, because they don't take chip damage, but they are now in a situation where if they ever get put in burnout, they lose.
Oh yeah, and the thing is that like burnout, how the burnout system works in the drive gauge is that like the drive gauge is how you do your metered attacks, like meter fireball, meter shoryuken. That's like how you use your meter. But the thing is that it's also in charge of being able to do something called drive parry, which allows you to restore some of that drive gauge back if you get hit while in this state. But it costs drive gauge to use it. There's drive rush, which cost 1 bar in total to use. The thing is that like the drive gauge you can do a lot with, but the thing is that people who poorly manage their drive gauges are going to lose very quickly. So it's a game about knowing your resource management and making sure that you use them in a correct fashion so that you can officially win the game and make sure that you don't overextend. Which I think is awesome because I love resource management in video games. I mean, hell, my favorite game of all time is literally a time management game where if I don't like use my time correctly, then I get punished in terms of like difficulty for gameplay. Persona 5 Royal. But point that I'm making is that like they implemented this like resource mechanic so incredibly well for like risk reward in this fighting game that it feels so good when you bring someone into burnout because they overextended like a combo or they DP'd in the wrong position. It's so good because you knew it was coming and they didn't plan it out right, so you get the win on it.
All right, and that is actually like real. That's like because that's basically a unique mechanic, and most modern fighting games nowadays are adopting a sort of like high like aggressive sort of play style, because that's kind of how the focus has shifted to for fighting games, as people like the aggressive part. It's a lot less defensive, but drive gauge kind of differs from stuff like the heat meter from Tekken, or like I'm mostly just done the heat meter from Tekken. That's
Yeah.
what I'm
Or I
comparing
mean,
it
or
to.
like a lot of the like instant like get up in your face options and like Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, or like skip neutral buttons in like Grand Blue. Like those types of games are a lot more hyper aggressive. Because here's the thing, you get a lot of meter to like skip neutral is like the term, but like with drive rush and all that, you are risking your meter in order to get that advantage. You do not get it for free. You have to work for it, and you get punished if you try to abuse it. Unlike other games where like the heat mechanic in Tekken, it's a great mechanic, don't get me wrong, but it's like you don't really get punished for abusing your heat meter.
Yeah, unless like again, like the meat. Yeah, I do agree. Like you don't get punished, but you can't use it again once it's out, which I think is like a good balance for it.
Yeah,
Like
but
for the
like
for
my
the
my whole
round.
my whole part is that the drive gauge is not an aggressive thing. You get aggressive stuff, but it's a bar that you can, if you play hyper defensive, you take drive gauge chip damage, but you get to keep all your life. But you parry or you perfect parry and you get all this life back, or you start like uh you start attacking back, you get drive gauge rack. So like the whole game dynamic kind of changes whenever people get low on drive meter, where people start becoming, at least in the rank that me and Guy are in, people get a little more reckless because they're trying to get you to people are trying to just get you to burn out, and usually that leads to mistakes. Guy will attest. Today I was fighting a Marissa player who every time I was close to burnout would just sprint at me and then lose.
Yeah, I can attest to this. I witnessed this today, and what did Liam do? He played defensive, and he caught up on the bad habits that the Mercer was doing and punished accordingly. And because he did that, he was able to regain his drive gauge and win efficiently against the Marissa.
It was
I think
oh,
yeah, you
go
first.
go for it. Oh, okay. And that's like such a cool mechanic of the game, is like you can play aggressive and win, and it works a lot. But every single play style is accommodated in this game, and that's what I think makes it such a tightly made, amazing game, because it's like so crazy.
It is. It's like, you want to play hyper aggressive? Okay, go for it. Go play a character that's hyper aggressive and like use your drive meter to like get in on neutral very quickly. Oh, you want to play like a zoner character? You can play someone like JP or Guile, so that they use their drive gauge in a more like defensive way and like try to refill it while also like zoning. There's so many ways that you can utilize characters and their movesets, as well as what they can do with drive meter, that makes like a unique experience. And the thing is that like, usually there's a flowchart for a lot of characters in fighting games. Like one good example is let's take Mario from Smash Bros. You know his basic gameplay. He's gonna try and grab you, and he's gonna try and do combos with his grabs into his up air strings. That's pretty like, and it's a good thing for him because it's his best thing. Every character, sure, they have like optimal setups and whatnot, but you can play them in completely different ways, and it all works because the game implores you to try out new stuff. Like, good example that I do with Ken is when I get people in a corner, what I love to do is that I love using his Rekka move called Jinrai Kick. It's a two-hitting attack that has multiple stages of the second hit. And what I do is that I like to bait out people going for invincible options on Wake Up with the first hit of Jinrai Kick, so that they think I'm going to go for the second option and they're going to try and punish me for it. The thing is that I have enough, I'm plus enough on the Wake Up to actually cancel that and go into block, so that they waste their option and I punish more to get more damage in. And that's the thing. A lot of cans actually don't do that because they go for their own setups.
Oh, that's another thing we can talk about. How every single character can be so personalized to your playstyle. Like, there are people who play Ryu as like the most defensive, like with punishy, like just wait, charge, kind of like bait punish character, and like that's sick as hell. And then there are Ryus that are like, I'm gonna hit you with one move, and you're going to go across half the stage, and I'm going to be always an advantage. And it's so cool because these people can play these characters like extremely differently. Like Guy has a very, very strong corner pressure game, so his game plan is usually to try and get you into the corner so he can start exuding his pressure. But there are other Kens there who will like forego corner carries just because they're so confident in their neutral that they're like, I don't need corner, I'm just going to get as much damage as possible, and I don't need to be an advantage all the time, I just want to get damage. It's so sick.
It really is. Like, and that's a good point too. Like, my main gimmick is that I want to get you in corner. Like, I play neutral very like aggressive, like passively, but like once I get you in a corner, I play completely different because that's my thing. I want to get you in a corner. But that's not like, you don't have to play that character that way. God, one character that I think, like, as of recent, especially because he just came out, that can actually kind of play like whatever playstyle you want is Ed.
Ed.
He was a character from Street Fighter V, He has incredible zoning tools with his Psycho Flicker, but he also has really good up close moves to like pressure you because they're mostly safe, as well as like able to lead into some of his best combos.
Yippee!
I love Ed. He goes 1, 2, 3, and you die.
No,
He
like
says, "I'm pissing you off," and then throws stuff at you. It's very fun.
every single character is so like stylized. Oh, can we talk? Can we focus shift our focus to the art style because
Oh god, the art style is so fucking good. It actually made Luke's hair look decent.
no, because like the whole thing of the game is like they aged all the characters up. They changed their designs. They changed their themes, which was a very uh, risky change because those themes are iconic. Everyone knows a Ryu's theme, Ken's theme, Guile's
Kyle's
theme.
theme.
Guile's theme is probably like the biggest one, at least in my opinion. That
Oh
theme
no, it's definitely like a top
is
three.
is heat, but they got rid of literally all of them in lieu of like more like stylized but like very cultural songs for each character. Like Zangief has a very like Russian inspired like dance song. It's really cool. Like Chun-Li has a very like you got like they're all like
It
hip
has like a
hop,
lot of wind,
hip hop,
like wind. It
hip
has like a
hop
lot of
with
pipe musics in it with like Chun Li, like to kind of like symbolize like the traditional Chinese style because of
yeah,
her like.
like it's very oriental, and then you got like uh Ed, who's very on the nose. There's just a German guy rapping for his.
Yeah, because he's a German guy, which is sick, and its entire thing is like, the translated lyrics from that rap is like about him becoming a street fighter and like him like dealing with his problems and whatnot because of like his backstory. But like the thing is that like all of their themes are actually really good themes too.
Yes, they're bangers. My personal favorite theme for I don't know why you couldn't get this. I love Cammy's theme. I'm gonna be so real. It's so good.
I'm probably biased too. I love Ken's theme.
Yeah, I think we both might have a little bit of bias.
Maybe a little biased. Who knows?
I might be a little biased, but I really like Kimberly's theme.
Yeah. Okay. Point
my-
is that the music is really good.
every single character is good. All the art style is really cool. Every person has a different looking
Aesthetic.
drive gauge like type of move.
Oh, drive
like,
impact.
kind of
Yeah, they have
drive
different looking
impact.
drive
It's
impact.
like they're basically everyone gets like this really cool like graffiti style like vibrant things coming from the colorblind guy. That says a lot. Like they're really well made and it's so cool to see.
It really is because they do try to. That's just going back to the point of like they try to make every character feel unique, and like obviously there are the universal mechanics that everyone has. Like everyone has a drive impact, which is it's a slow armored move that goes through most moves in the game. That if you punish someone with them with drive impact, then you get a free combo off of. All of them are in a graffiti art style that are different colors.
It's such a cool effect, and like each like for example, Ed is like blue and purple, and not gonna lie, when I first saw that, it actually made me want to kind of buy the buy Ed because I love blue a lot.
Yeah,
No, like
dude, and the thing.
every character just gets like really cool like aesthetics for them. Like they're all very stylized for their culture. They're all very like it's very like they get really cool like everything like you can just tell that they have a lot of love for like these people and like these characters and like they want to do them right and like they will do them and their culture correct because they want to, not because they like feel the need to.
It's a very diverse game. Like you have characters from all over the world, which I think is sick.
Yeah, it's so nice to like see them, and then like they all get like they all right now. There's currently 3 costumes for every character, and like almost every single character has an outfit style for that someone will like at this point in the
Yeah.
game.
It
There's no people with only stinkers.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single bad like costumes so far.
The only
I would disagree, but that's
You're
neither
gonna
here
you're
nor
gonna
there.
say you're gonna say Kin Alpha 3, aren't you?
No, I'm gonna say Lily.
Which one?
Outfit 2. That one's
the outfit
ass.
Lily's outfit too is kind of bad.
Okay, yeah,
Outfit
it's actually
outfit 3 should be your base outfit though.
Hold on,
it's
I'm
so
looking.
good.
Hold on, I'm looking Lily outfit 3 real quick.
Outfit 3 is so good.
Outfit 3 is actually insane. Like it's
Okay, it
also
actually looks insane.
yeah, no, it's actually it should be her base outfit, but like they're doing like a very good job with like every aspect besides and I think this is where we're going to be going monetization.
Yeah, the
They're
monetization of the game is really
they're
bad.
the monetization of the game is extremely predatory. These cool outfits that you want to get, if you want to get the outfit threes, they're 500 credits, and if you spend 600 credits, and if you spend $5, you do not get enough credits for them. So in order to get one outfit, you have to spend 10 credits, and you're left with like 300 left over because they instead of making them $5 each, which would have been like a normal thing to do, it is now way more expensive because they just wanted to monetize a little more.
Yeah, and they want
And
you to make that extra purchase just so they have more money from the credits. And if you actually, I just looked it up. If you want to get every single Alpha 3 in the game, typically they would release a pass for all of the outfits, like maybe $25, $30 because they're outfits, which, you know what, that doesn't seem too bad. Depending on how good they look, it could actually be pretty sick. You need to spend, in this game, it's $108 for all of them. Which, that's almost double than the base game. Like, holy shit.
yeah, you have to spend more money for the entirety of like every single outfit. You have to spend more money on that than you do on the entire game, which is actually like criminal.
Yeah, it's bad.
It is. Capcom, like, they are my favorite developers, don't get me wrong, but they did have pretty bad DLC practices. This is also in Monster Hunter World. I hate that they did this, I really do, but in Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise, quick tangent, to respec how your character looks like physical appearance wise, you have to buy a voucher, like with real money, buy a voucher so that you can redo your character, like how they look.
That's.
That's
I think you've
insane.
said that before, but each time I hear it, I'm like, that's so bad.
It's really bad. I mean, I don't know. It's just Capcom. It's a Capcom problem. It's not really like the game's problem, but it's like they are being very predatory on like how people are spending their money with the game. Not only that, but it's like if you want to get the outfits for, oh god, I think this is the good transition point. The crossovers for Street Fighter 6, they're ass, and they also like have really bad monetization because you have to spend real money for costumes that don't apply to the actual characters. They actually apply to your
Yeah,
OC.
yeah, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but I don't think a whole lot of people use the like OC thing. The only thing you really use it for is either story mode, which is super short, or the battle hub. But if you're doing the battle hub, then it's mainly just to screw around with friends, I feel like, because if you want to play games, then you can just make a ranked room, or you can just go on ranked. Like it feels like so like just it just feels like so like not
Not
useful,
It's
needed.
not
I
where most of
guess.
the
Not needed.
content of the game is going to be.
It's unnecessary, and it basically, I want to say it allows them to be lazy with like how they like do like
Yeah,
costumes and
because
stuff. Because like
they're not even
like the characters, the like special like one time characters are not the focus of the game. The focus of the game is the like one of the most tight like just like amazing.
Gameplay loops of like of a fighting game.
Like
yeah.
it's such a good fighting game, and they just kind of drop the ball with like the the character creator was like a cool little niche thing, but that's what it is. It's niche. It is not something that you're going to be like running back to all the time, because why run back to that when you can play like the most polished fighting game? So like, what's the
Exactly.
point?
Like, don't get me wrong. I like the fact that I created a penis monster and ran around in the story mode as a penis monster. But
And that's awesome.
yeah, exactly, that's awesome. But the penis monster is not what's making me continue to go back to Street Fighter 6. It's the fact that its gameplay, its online gameplay is incredibly polished and it's amazing. So the fact that the costumes are just for the like OCs really sucks, because that's not what I just feel like that's not what the main player base is for. For a good, like, when they said they were doing the Spy Family collab, I was fully expecting, because in the promotional stuff they were constantly showing Yor with like Chun Li and stuff. So I was fully expecting Chun Li to get like an alt 4 that would be like Yor's costume, and I thought that would have been really sick, because then it was like, oh, we can in the future we can do like more costumes for others. Like, maybe, like, to throw a wild card example, maybe Ken could get a Guts outfit or something stupid like that.
Who?
A Guts outfit.
And I'm just saying, like, Chun-Li as Yor would actually, like, let's just say these penguins would be marching.
Dude, I completely agree. I'm on you. I'm with you on that.
You're on me?
But
Hell yeah.
I am on you. But no, I
All right,
agree.
we
It's like
gotta
what's
days
up?
days without Liam and Guy having gay sex. Gotta update the sign. Hold on.
Reset to 0.
Yeah, reset it to 0.
Um, no, I agree though. It's like there's so much potential that goes in with it, and you know that they spend like a good amount of money to make sure these crossovers happen. But the problem is that they're so niche. Like, don't get me wrong, the single player stuff in Street Fighter 6 is actually a lot of fun. If you haven't already, you should play World Tour mode because it gives you a good idea of how the game like is played, and it teaches you like throughout the game like what mechanics you need to keep in mind and what you should learn. But also it gives you a good idea of like how characters play, because you can mix match movesets of characters and special moves to create your own abomination.
Your
But the
own
thing is,
penis monster.
true. But because you can make this like custom character, you're allowed to do a lot in terms of like experimenting with like different moves and to see like what characters like you think will fit your playstyle the most. And the game literally says this in here. Like, I'm not even kidding. Chun-Li actually says this. Hey, my style might not be the one for you, so that's okay. Try someone else's. And I think that's awesome. Okay, drink a shot every time I've said awesome in this entire episode.
You will die of liver. Your liver will just explode.
It will, because this game is awesome.
It's epic, like
But the
Fortnite.
point is that like it's a fun single player experience. But the fact of the matter is that they're tying all these crossovers that people are really excited for to single player content. Not only that, but it's limited time single player content too. Like, if you don't get it while it's there, it's gone forever. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that, and like you're wasting resources and time that could be going into other stuff like actual costumes for like cheap monetization. That like they have so many like cool things, and like the whole like crossover thing is a very recent business practice that Street Fighter and kind of just Capcom in general has not implemented well, and it's only hurting their game because people are like seeing these like crossovers and like, this is really cool. Like the Chun-Li Yor little fight collab thing was so sick, and they kind of butchered it by making it a really bad looking
Costume.
costume, not for a character but for your little character. And like, maybe some like casual people will be into it and like it, but that's not the majority of Street Fighter. Most of people don't play Street Fighter for the stupid little casual thing.
Well, it's even then, if it was a casual thing, it was like so much like you had to pay like I can't remember how much you had to pay for it, but it was a decent amount. It's just like I don't see why a casual person would also buy that. It was just like it
Yes,
just
Yeah,
it's
like you first.
it's just like for like 90% of people, that's just not money that they're gonna spend on a game that they already spent $60 on, when they could spend that money on a new game, the DLC. Like there's a lot of stuff that they could do.
and
Yeah,
this also sort of ties into a big problem all games are having with like DLC. Um, and we've talked about this before on an episode, but DLC nowadays is just getting like so expensive for stuff that's like not even like worth it. Like a good example is very recently the Persona 3 Reload was announced. It was like getting a deal. It was announced it was getting a DLC for to include the answer, which is a story thing that was already
it's an epilogue for
yeah, which was already in a
no,
pre-existing place.
a prologue. My bad. Wait, is it prologue or epilogue that
I'm
come after?
pretty sure it's an epilogue.
That
Do
comes
not.
after is epilogue.
Yeah,
Okay, epilogue. I was right the first time.
yeah. Prologues before, epilogues after. But it it that was already in a pre-existing version of the game. But now you have to pay, um, like I think $35 for it. And when you consider that the base game for P3R is $70. If you want the full story, it's $105, which is really expensive.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, in a situation like that, it's a massive DLC. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing because I promise there's a point to this because there are games out there that you might pay $100 in general for a base game and DLC to get like the full picture of everything. Like, I mean, the best example of this that's coming up is Elden Ring. But I think the point they were trying to get to is that like this is content that has existed before, but it's just being remade. But a price tag is being put on it.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest problem I think with it. And I promise I'll end this tangent soon. But the reason why it upsets me is because it was pre-existing, it easily could have just been in the base game.
They also added the DLC like barely after the full game has been out, which means that they
Exactly.
had it pretty close to ready.
Exactly. I haven't even finished it. I haven't finished Persona 3 Reload yet, and the DLC has already been announced. And like it just because that and the fact that again it's already been a thing. I'm pretty sure in Persona 3 Portable that was a thing that was included in the game, and it was like why it just feels so unnecessary and it's just so scummy.
All right,
But
now
this has
back to
nothing to
Street
do with
Fighter.
Yeah, back to Street Fighter.
yeah, that's I just had to
Yeah,
go on that little tangent real quick.
the
But
DLC for the characters I think is fine. Like, don't get me wrong. Like $40 for full characters, that's not the worst. All things can. Wait, is it $40? Am I tripping?
here, I'll look it up real
I
quick.
thought it was 30.
Yeah, it is 30. Yeah, $7.50 for one character. I'm not gonna lie, ain't that bad.
Like the biggest problem with the game is like thinking about like the two things as one. You spend $60 on 18 characters and like all this, and then you spend $30, which makes the game $90 for 4 more characters. It can be overwhelming, but that's why it's a choice. You don't have to get it. You're technically missing out, but there are so many good characters in the base roster where even if you never
Yeah,
get the DLC, you're not gonna
this
feel like you're
isn't
just not getting to have fun, because every single character in that game is made with love.
yeah, this isn't like a Smash or Mortal Kombat situation where the DLC is just better most
The
of the
DLC
time.
is like their main selling point. Like MK1, literally like half the reason people bought their game was because of the DLC roster sounded really cool.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
gonna
Like
lie, the DLC roster is actually pretty sick.
yeah,
But the game itself is like, I still am like excited for Homelander, even though I know I'm gonna buy him, play him for like a day or two, and then drop the game again.
Yeah, that's just how that game is. But the thing is that like that's not the main draw of
Street
Street Fighter
Fighter.
6. Yeah, it's like, no, they are genuinely making well-crafted characters with like a lot of thought put behind them. And not only that, but everything that we talked about previously in terms of like, oh, they're extremely well made. Like you can play them in so many different ways and the ways that you want to. Yeah, that's going to apply to that character that's going to come out soon. Akuma, I'm excited to see what combo strings people find with him and what like different things for different situations people think of. And that's going to be so sick.
Yeah. Um, I remember you showed me a screenshot of his fireball thing.
Oh god,
Um,
his fireball's funny.
yeah, I can't wait for that to be in the game.
I think Akuma is the only Shoto in the game that has an aerial fireball, which that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
That and Akuma with drive rush sounds awful.
he's
It
gonna
sounds horrifying.
he's
Like
gonna
I'm
rip
actually gonna
some
shit my
incredible
pants every
ass.
time I see that green.
Dude, imagine him like imagine him doing OD aerial fireball into like dive kick, pressuring you with like a jab afterwards, and then you just get hit by the fireballs. Oh my god, that's gonna be
They're not
terrible
gonna.
to
They're
deal with.
probably. I don't know how they're gonna do their character, but I don't know how many times he gets both his aerial fireball and his dive kick.
Yeah, I highly doubt he's gonna be like broken. Though, like, obviously, like, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun if
He's
past
he's
games.
he's Akuma. They can't like they. It's kind of impossible not to make Akuma good because he has just like that kind of kit where it's just this
He's
is
just that guy.
he has a kit that's just kind of designed to be a very good kit, and for them to fumble that bag, I can't see it happening.
Yeah, Akuma is at minimum high mid tier in most games, which is awesome because
He's
like
quite literally
he's just
built
awesome.
different.
He's the
He's
best
literally built different.
character. He's the best character in a non-Street Fighter game. That's how broken he is.
Yeah, or like he's at minimum number 3 in Tekken 7, which I thought was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
For a while, he was undisputably the best character.
Oh yeah, until like Leroy and like I think someone else came out, but like like obviously he got nerfed over time, but he's still top 3 because he's just Akuma.
He's Akuma, and they gave Akuma Korean backdash, which is insane.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
god.
but I think that's a decent spot to wrap up. What do you guys think?
I think so too.
I think so too.
Basically,
Yeah, I
as
think
you
we've
can all
we've
tell,
made our peace.
we are all big Street Fighter fans. Street Fighter 6 fans. Let me like make that clear
Yeah.
because I've only played Street Fighter 6. Wasn't
Same here.
I wasn't a
Same
big
here.
person until Street Fighter 6 because I heard about the things about Street Fighter 5. I heard about the horror that game started off as, and it was off-putting. And then I started getting into fighting games more, and then this game came along, and now look at me. I'm Diamond 1, 2, I don't remember, with
You're Diamond
Cammy. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just a great time all around. You don't have to play the game competitively. The casual aspect's really good. They have fun party modes. Modern controls exist. Boom. Great game.
There's so many accessibility features with this game that the game wants you to like feel comfortable in your shoes. Like
A
modern
blind
controls.
person won a tournament set. That's
Say what?
that's something that happened. A blind person won a tournament set. That is how
Oh, yeah,
accessible this game is.
This? Oh yeah, no. I know who you're talking about. He was actually one of the
Blind
best
Warrior
players.
Sven.
Yes, he's actually one of the best kin players in the world, which I think is awesome.
He played.
He
He doesn't.
You
what?
first.
I thought he played Tonda.
Wait, I think I'm thinking of someone else. There's someone who is blind. He competed in Street Fighter 5 prior to 6 coming out. He played Kin, and he actually got second highest rank in Street Fighter 5, which was like outside of top 500.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, like we were talking about, this game is just like a super polished like a 9 out of 10 fighting game that you will pick it up and you will realize that you can't put it down.
9 out of 10, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's a 10 out of 10.
I'd put it at a 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for predatory marketing or predatory.
Okay, that's
that, like,
okay.
that,
That's fair.
That is the only reason I'm not putting it at a 10 out of 10 because I think that is a problem that needs to be addressed and you cannot gloss over because it is a fundamental like aspect of the game is that they're trying to sell you something that isn't worth the price.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's
And
fair. I think
$108 for 18 costumes is never never worth it.
I do think that the gameplay itself though is a 10 out of 10. I think it is the most polished modern fighting game we've had for a while.
I wouldn't
Like
I was going to say bar none, but Tekken 8, but like it's just that good.
It's
it is just
just
that good.
that epic.
It's built different. And
Um,
Connor, I'll let you do your concluding points.
I really couldn't say anything better because I haven't played the game as much. The only thing I'll say is that remember, kids, modern Zangief is always the best option.
True.
Yes. It
I love
is.
modern Zangief. He is my secondary, like unironically, and it's really funny. Do I use him for any specific matchup? No, I'm just a shit poster. But
Yeah, it's crazy because every other character you play is top tier. You play Ken, you're gonna play Akuma. It's crazy. You'll never
oh
beat
yeah,
the
I'm
tier
dropping
four.
Ken. Dude, Akuma looks so fun. Oh my god.
And you know
But
what? You're never gonna beat the tier four allegations.
no, I know that. Like I've just accepted them at this point, and you know it. You know I'm a tier whore. I don't mean to be. I just am.
I feel like it's the same situation for me. I'm just like a low tier hero.
A low tier hero.
I play K. Rule, I play Ridley, I play Kimberly, which Kimberly's not like awful. She's not like Lily, but she's not a Ken.
Yeah, she's not Luke.
Her fucking teleport itself is enough to put her like really bad.
It's funny that her teleport is just used more for combos than it is for actual neutral, which I find hilarious.
It's so bad. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's a good spot to wrap up.
yeah. With my concluding points, I was essentially just gonna say I feel like a lot of people still have. Obviously, the stigma isn't as big as it used to be, but the stigma of like, oh, I don't. The fighting games look hard. I don't want to remember all these combos. I don't want to remember all of this input shenanigans just to play the game. I think Street Fighter Six is the perfect way for people to get into fighting games without having to like feel that pressure because there's so many accessibility features for people to play the game in their own way. Modern Controls is a complete overhaul of this like accessibility that I'm referring to. You can do complicated inputs in a single button press for those who don't want to get into like the nitty gritty rifle creep into like the input system. But the thing is that like it also has a 20% damage reduction, which is fair. But the point is that like if you want to play a character a certain way, but you don't want to remember all these combos, you have motor controls to help you out. Not only that, but there's so many different ways that the game lets you learn it. Again, like the tutorials are a good way to get a hand of the mechanics. Each characters, all characters have their own character guides that the game likes to tell you to like how the character is typically played. You have the replay system, which I was referring to, where the game will give you recommendations of characters and replays to watch to improve your gameplay. You have the battle hub, which we didn't even mention, but the battle hub is it's essentially a lobby system where you get to play with other players that you've never met before to fight however you want. But you can set lobby settings in your own way so that you can have people who are like mains of like Cammy. Like let's say I wanted to get good at the DJ matchup, but I don't want to play rank because I don't want to risk my points going down. I can just go into a battle hub, search up a DJ lobby, ask for people for DJ matchup experience, and the game will allow me to do that with like experienced DJ players.
With
Yeah,
that being said, Street Fighter,
Yeah,
good game. That's it.
pick up if you were even slightly interested, please pick this up. I cover this as my game of the year for 2023 for a reason. It has become one of my favorite games ever made. I love playing it. I love introducing it to people, and honestly, it's made me a Street Fighter fan. And I can't say anything more about it because I feel like this game is just the peak of modern fighting games. But yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. We need the YouTube algorithm. Punch that like button like you would punch your enemies in Street Fighter. Give that like button a shoryuken.
And comment what you would do if you were with Cammy or
Oh
Chun
God,
Li
God, don't do not give me that option. Ooh,
or
someone is
Okay, we're are
Zangief.
ending it now before guy goes monkey mode. Bye bye.
already
Bye.
have. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been our episode on Street Fighter 6. Thank you guys very much. Bye bye.